There is a truth so powerful, so simple, and so misunderstood that it becomes almost invisible. A truth Neville Goddard repeated again and again, a truth that quantum physics now confirms, a truth that shapes every timeline you enter and every reality you experience. The truth is this: you do not manifest what you want, you manifest what you assume. Wanting is desire, assuming is identity, and reality always follows identity. The universe does not respond to the intensity of your desire. It responds to the stability of your assumption. You can want something with all your heart, but if you assume it is far away, difficult, unlikely, or impossible, then your assumption, not your desire, becomes the creative force. Desire expands the heart, but assumption writes the code. Neville said, "Assumption is the one thing that will bring your desire to life. Not effort, not forcing, not waiting. Assumption. Assumption is not pretending. Assumption is not forcing positive thoughts. Assumption is not wishful thinking. Assumption is being. It is the silent inner conviction that something is already true, even before the physical evidence appears. It is the inner shift that precedes all outer shifts. It is the inner yes that becomes the blueprint for your new reality. When you assume something, you move your consciousness into the state where that thing is already real. You become the version of yourself who lives it, breathes it, embodies it. Assumption is the identity you wear in the unseen world, and identity is the vibration the universe must reflect. Think of it like this: every person lives inside a story, and that story shapes their assumptions. Some assume that life is hard, so life becomes hard. Some assume that love is painful, so love becomes painful. Some assume that money is scarce, so money becomes scarce. Some assume that blessings find them, and blessings find them. Not because of fate or luck, but because assumption dictates experience. Assumptions are like gravitational fields. They pull reality toward them. They shape perception. They influence emotion. They guide behaviors. They create patterns. They select the timeline you experience. When you assume something is true, the subconscious accepts it without resistance. And once the subconscious accepts it, reality begins to shift. This means that your life is not shaped by what you hope for, but by what you expect. Not by what you say you want, but by what you internally believe you will receive. Not by your goals and dreams, but by the identity you hold when no one is watching. Assumption is the emotional tone behind your desires. It is the script your subconscious follows. It is the inner voice your reality listens to. And here is the most important part. You are always assuming something. Assumption is not optional. It is automatic. The only question is whether your assumptions support your desires or sabotage them. If you assume people disappoint you, they will. If you assume abundance is difficult, it will be. If you assume love is complicated, it will feel complicated. If you assume opportunities pass you by, they will. If you assume you are always guided, you will be. If you assume you deserve the best finds you effortlessly. Your assumption is not just a belief, it is a state of consciousness, and that state selects the reality you step into. Neville Goddard taught that the only way to change your life is to change the state you occupy, not through physical effort, but through assumption. When you assume a new identity, your mind, emotions, decisions, behaviors, and energetic field align with that identity. And when your inner world aligns, the outer world has no choice but to follow. Assumption is the moment desire becomes identity. Identity is the moment vibration becomes reality. Reality is the moment consciousness becomes physical. You don't manifest by chasing, you manifest by becoming. There is a timeline where your desire is already true. The version of you who lives that reality is available now. When you assume that identity, you shift. You step into the state of the wish fulfilled. You begin to think like someone who already has. You begin to feel like someone who already has. You begin to choose like someone who already has. You begin to move, speak, breathe, and behave like someone who already has. This is the essence of the law of assumption. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and live from it. Not toward it, not in search of it, from it, because the moment you live from the state, the universe reorganizes itself to reflect that state back to you. Everything begins with assumption. Every manifestation, every shift, every timeline change, every identity evolution. You are not trying to become something. You are remembering who you are when you no longer doubt. You are stepping into the version of you who already exists vibrationally. You don't wait for the world to give you permission. You assume your power. You assume your worth. You assume your identity. And reality bends. This is the core truth. This is the foundation of the law of assumption. This is the beginning of everything you desire. Your life is not shaped by your desires. Your life is shaped by your identity, the self you believe yourself to be. Neville Goddard taught this with absolute clarity. Your self-concept is the root of every manifestation. Everything you experience, everything you attract, everything you repeat, everything you lose, everything you create begins in the identity you assume as true. Self-concept is not who you think you are. It is who you believe you are at the deepest level. It is the silent story running beneath your thoughts. It is the emotional posture you carry in every room. It is the vibration you broadcast without trying. It is the energetic signature that reality responds to. You can desire abundance, but if your self-concept is, I am someone who struggles, abundance cannot stay. You can desire love, but if your self-concept is, I am someone who is abandoned, love cannot root itself. You can desire success, but if your self-concept is, I am someone who doubts my worth, success slips through your fingers. You can desire manifestation, but if your self-concept is, I am someone who hopes, not someone who assumes, manifestation remains distant. Your self-concept is the magnet of your reality. It pulls everything into your life, not through effort, but through resonance. Most people try to change their lives through action, but action cannot override identity. If your self-concept contradicts your desire, identity wins every time. The subconscious mind follows the identity, not the intention. It obeys the story, not the wish. It mirrors the assumptions you hold about yourself, not the dreams you have for yourself. This is why people can work endlessly and change nothing, because they are trying to build a new life with an old identity. They are taking action from a self-concept that contradicts their desire, and so reality loops back into the same patterns. No matter how much you try to change outcomes, your self-concept silently chooses the timeline you live. You cannot manifest a life that is incompatible with your identity. You cannot receive a reality that your self-concept rejects. You cannot expand into a version of life you don't believe you can hold. Your identity is your home frequency. And your home frequency determines everything. Think of two people who receive the same opportunity. One thrives, the other collapses. Why? Identity. One assumes, I can succeed. The other assumes, this will fail for me. And reality follows their assumption. Think of two people in relationships. One feels loved naturally. The other feels insecure even when loved deeply. Why? Identity. One assumes, I am lovable. The other assumes, I am replaceable. And their reality mirrors that story. Self-concept determines not only what you attract, but what you keep. If your identity cannot hold abundance, it leaks. If your identity cannot hold love, it sabotages. If your identity cannot hold success, it avoids. This is not failure. This is programming. And programming can be rewritten. The self-concept you have today is not who you truly are. It is the echo of old experiences, old wounds, old beliefs, old stories, old environments, old expectations. It is a collection of assumptions you gathered without awareness. You learned to see yourself through the lens of pain, not possibility, through fear, not truth, through memory, not identity. But those assumptions were never destiny. They were just repetition. And repetition can be changed. The law of assumption teaches that you can rewrite your entire life by rewriting the self you assume yourself to be. When you shift your self-concept, you shift your vibration. When you shift your vibration, you shift the timeline. When you shift the timeline, you shift the reality. Everything begins with identity. The version of you who already has what you want does not just act differently. She is different. She carries a different emotional tone. She wakes up with a different assumption about herself. She speaks to herself with a different internal voice. She navigates choices with a different confidence. She interacts with opportunities through a different belief system. Her self-concept is aligned with her desire. Your work is not to chase the desire. Your work is to become the identity that naturally lives it. Neville called this living from the end. Not toward the end, but from it, from the identity, from the vibration, from the assumption. The end is not a goal. It is a state of being. And when you occupy that state, the external world bends. If you want abundance, you must assume the identity of someone who is abundant. If you want love, you must assume the identity of someone who is deeply lovable. If you want success, you must assume the identity of someone who naturally succeeds. If you want peace, you must assume the identity of someone who feels supported. If you want miracles, you must assume the identity of someone who is guided. The shift begins with a single question. Who am I in the reality where my desire is already fulfilled? Not what you do, who you are, what you believe, how you feel, how you respond, what you assume, how you exist. Your new life cannot come through the old self. The door to your new timeline opens inward through identity. Self-concept is not something you fix. It is something you choose, moment by moment, breath by breath, assumption by assumption. You become the version of yourself that aligns with your desire. You embody the state that reflects your chosen reality, and the universe rearranges itself around your new self-concept. Identity first, reality second, always. There is a doorway inside you, a doorway that can only be opened from within. It does not respond to force, effort, or pressure. It opens only through feeling. Neville Goddard called this doorway the state of the wish fulfilled, the inner state where your desire is already true, already real, already present in your being, long before it appears in the physical world. This is the heart of the law of assumption. You must feel the reality of your desire before life can reflect it. You don't wait to feel it after it arrives. You become the person who feels it now. You assume the identity now. You embody the state now. Feeling is the bridge. Assumption is the engine. Identity is the blueprint. And reality is the mirror. But how do you enter this state? How do you shift from wanting into being? How do you move from longing into embodiment? How do you feel something that is not yet visible? The answer is simpler and more powerful than most people realize. You enter the state through emotional alignment, inner sensory experience, and identity-based imagination. The first step is emotional grounding. Before you can enter a new state, you must quiet the noise of the old one. Take a slow breath, relax your shoulders, feel your chest soften, feel your awareness turning inward. This is not meditation, this is alignment. You are creating space for a new frequency. The second step is sensory merging. Every state has a sensory signature. Love feels warm and expansive. Abundance feels open and safe. Success feels grounded and steady. Confidence feels clear and anchored. Peace feels spacious and soft. Whatever you desire, feel the sensory tone of the version of you who already has it. Not the details, the sensation. Ask yourself, if my desire were true right now, how would my body feel? Would your breath be lighter? Would your shoulders relax? Would your heart feel open? Would your mind feel calmer? Would your chest feel warm? Would your stomach feel grounded? Would your energy feel bigger or softer or more certain? The body knows the state. The body remembers the frequency. The body is the doorway. The third step is identity immersion. Picture the version of you who already has what you want, not the circumstances, the self. How does she move? How does she breathe? How does she speak to herself? What assumptions does she carry? What emotions does she live from? What choices feel natural to her? What does her presence feel like? You are not imagining a future self. You are recognizing a parallel self. A self that already exists vibrationally, a self accessible through identity. The fourth step is emotional possession. This is Neville's true teaching. You must possess the feeling of the fulfilled desire. Own it, claim it, wear it like skin. Let it settle into your breathing, into your posture, into the way your thoughts move. Feel the inner shift from I want it to I have it, from I desire it to it is done, from is it possible to of course, from searching to knowing. This is the point where the subconscious reorients itself. The fifth step is inner conversation. Every identity has an inner voice. The version of you who already has your desire does not think the way you think now. Her inner dialogue is different. She says things to herself that you do not yet say. She sees life through a different lens. She assumes good things. She expects support. She feels guided. She trusts her timing. She knows her worth. Speak to yourself as she would. Think her thoughts. Use her inner tone. Inner conversation is assumption in motion. The sixth step is embodiment of relief. The state of the wish fulfilled is not excitement. It is relief. Relief is the emotional proof that your subconscious has accepted the new state as real. Relief means the desire is no longer something you are trying to get. It is something you already hold energetically. Relief softens the nervous system, quiets the fear, silences the doubt. Relief is the energetic signature of done. If you can find relief, you have shifted. The seventh step is stillness. Sit in the feeling as if time does not exist. Do nothing, say nothing, chase nothing. For a moment, allow the new state to be enough. This is the moment your subconscious downloads the new identity. This is the moment the shift becomes real. This is the moment the old timeline dissolves. The eighth step is detachment from the physical world. Once you enter the state, you no longer look to the outside for confirmation. You no longer check mirrors for results. You no longer analyze signs. You no longer ask, is it working? Because that question belongs to the old identity. The new identity does not ask. She knows, she trusts, she embodies, she assumes, and assumption creates reality. The ninth step is persistence. Entering the state once is powerful. Entering it daily is transformative. Every time you return to the feeling, the identity strengthens. Every time the identity strengthens, the timeline stabilizes. Every time the timeline stabilizes, reality bends, not through pressure, but through vibrational inevitability. The 10th step is neutrality. Once the state is absorbed, you release all urgency. You stop needing proof. You stop needing reassurance. You stop needing outcomes. You live in the quiet certainty that the inner shift is enough. Because in the law of assumption, The inner shift is the manifestation. You do not manifest by wanting. You manifest by becoming. You manifest by assuming the identity. You manifest by living in the feeling. You manifest by holding the state. You manifest by returning again and again to the vibration of the fulfilled desire. The shift is not dramatic. It is subtle. It is an internal click, a soft rearrangement, a change in posture, a breath that feels different, a knowing that rises quietly, a peace that anchors gently, a certainty that does not need to be loud. The shift is the moment you stop being the version of you who is waiting and start being the version of you who has arrived. And once you shift, no external circumstance can contradict the new identity for long. Reality has no choice but to rearrange itself around who you have become. You have entered the state. The rest is unfolding. Close your eyes gently. Let the world soften around you. This moment is not about forcing anything. It is about allowing. It is about entering the state where your desire is no longer something you chase, but something you live. This is the state of the wish fulfilled, the inner home of your manifested reality. Take a slow breath in and release it slowly. Again, inhale softly. Exhale deeper. Let your shoulders relax. Let your jaw loosen. Let your chest expand. Let your body become a quiet vessel. You are not escaping reality. You are stepping into a truer one. Now bring your awareness to your heart, not your thoughts, not your doubts, not your fears, your heart, the place where your desires originate, the place where your intuition speaks, the place where your new identity lives. Feel your heartbeat. Feel the warmth behind your ribs. Feel the presence of something greater, your subconscious opening, listening, preparing to receive. Now imagine a soft golden light inside your chest, a warm, gentle glow. With each breath, the light expands, filling your lungs, your shoulders, your arms, your stomach, your back, your legs. The golden light is the vibration of the version of you who already has what you desire. Feel it spreading. Feel it warming your inner world. Feel it merging with your presence. Now, without forcing anything, ask yourself softly, if my desire were fulfilled right now, what would I feel? Let the answer rise naturally. Maybe you would feel relieved. Maybe you would feel peaceful. Maybe you would feel chosen. Maybe you would feel deserving. Maybe you would feel abundant. Maybe you would feel supported. Maybe you would feel whole. Whatever you feel, let that emotion expand. Let it soften your breath. Let it warm your chest. Let it wrap itself around your entire being. This feeling is not coming from imagination. It is coming from identity. It is coming from the self who already lives your desire. It is coming from the timeline you are shifting into. Now imagine that the version of you who lives in this emotion, the version who already has what you want, is standing a few steps ahead of you. Notice her presence, her calmness, her confidence, her knowing. She is not desperate, she is not waiting, she is not questioning, she is living. She looks at you with recognition, with familiarity, with love, because she is you. The expanded you, the realized you, the fulfilled you. Now imagine gently stepping toward her, one step, then another and another. With each step, something shifts inside you. You feel lighter, you feel clearer, you feel closer to yourself. Not the old self, the true self. The self aligned with the state of the wish fulfilled. Now you are standing face to face with her. She reaches out her hand, not to pull you, but to merge with you. Place your hand in hers. Feel a wave of warmth move through your body, a soft click inside your chest. A quiet knowing that you have crossed a threshold. You are merging with her. Her confidence becomes your confidence. Her trust becomes your trust. Her peace becomes your peace. Her inner knowing becomes your inner knowing. Her assumptions become your assumptions. Her identity becomes your identity. You are not imagining her, you are absorbing her. Now visualize stepping forward into her body, into her posture, her breath, her emotional tone, her presence. As you step forward, she dissolves into you and you dissolve into her. You become one. You become the fulfilled state. You become the identity of the result. You become the assumption. Feel the shift. Feel how your breath changes. Feel how your chest feels more open. Feel how your mind becomes quiet. Feel how your emotions settle into certainty. Feel how the tension melts. Feel how the desire no longer feels far away. It feels done. Now, place your hands gently over your heart. Take a slow breath and feel the emotion of the fulfilled desire anchoring itself deeply inside your subconscious, not as a thought, as a state. Whisper softly to yourself, "It is done." Again, "It is done." Once more, "It is done." Let those words sink into your subconscious. Let them echo through your nervous system. Let them settle into your identity. In this moment, you are no longer wanting, you are being. You are no longer reaching, you are receiving. You are no longer imagining. You are embodying. The version of you who has what you desire is not separate anymore. She breathes with you. She moves with you. She exists within you. She is you. Stay in this state for a moment. Let the feeling soak into every cell. Let the identity root itself. Let the assumption become your new home. This is the state of the wish fulfilled. And once you enter it, reality must conform. You do not manifest by chasing. You manifest by assuming. You manifest by feeling. You manifest by embodying. You manifest by being. Your only job now is to hold this state. The universe will handle everything else. A quantum shift is born in a single moment, but it becomes reality through persistence. Not effort, not desperation, not repetition without feeling, but through the gentle, unwavering commitment to remain in the state of the wish fulfilled, even when the world outside has not yet aligned with it. This is the secret Neville Goddard emphasized more than anything else. The outer world always lags behind the inner world, and the delay is not a punishment. It is simply the time it takes for physical reality to rearrange itself around your new identity. The version of you that has already received your desire lives inside a steady emotional tone, a stable inner atmosphere. Your work now is to maintain that atmosphere, to keep returning to it, to keep choosing it, until it becomes your dominant state. That is stabilization, that is persistence, that is mastery. The first principle of stabilization is emotional neutrality. When you shift into a new identity, your old emotions may rise up. Fear, doubt, impatience, the urge to check for progress. This is not failure. This is the nervous system letting go of the old self. Instead of fighting these feelings, observe them like passing clouds. Neutrality dissolves their power. Neutrality keeps you anchored in the new state instead of collapsing back into the old one. The second principle is gentle return. You will drift. Everyone drifts, but the power is in the return, the subtle, conscious act of choosing the fulfilled state again. Not through pressure, not through force, but through remembering. Each return strengthens the neural pathway of your new identity. Each return weakens the emotional grip of the former self. Each return reinforces to your subconscious. This is who I am now. The third principle is energetic protection, not isolation, protection. After a shift, your field becomes sensitive. Old environments, old conversations, old patterns of thought can lower your frequency. Protect your mind, protect your emotional environment, protect your internal narrative, protect the identity you just stepped into. Your new state is sacred. Treat it as such. The fourth principle is coherent behavior. Your actions must stop speaking the language of the old self. You don't need to make dramatic changes. You only need to make consistent ones, small aligned choices that reflect the identity of the version of you who already has. Ask yourself throughout the day, how does the version of me who already has my desire behave? Then honor that. Identity becomes real through action. The fifth principle is allowing the old reality to collapse. When you stabilize a new state, old patterns begin to break down, people shift, circumstances dissolve, paths close. This is not the universe working against you. This is the universe clearing the space for what aligns with your new identity. Do not cling to what is falling away. Do not chase what is detaching. The collapse is confirmation, not contradiction. The sixth principle is releasing the need for physical proof. When you look for signs, you signal disbelief. When you constantly check for results, you affirm that you don't trust the process. The world outside is a mirror, and mirrors take time to catch up. Your only proof is your inner knowing. Your only evidence is the feeling. Your only confirmation is the calm within you. When the inner state becomes undeniable, the external manifestation becomes inevitable. The seventh principle is living as if it is impossible to fail, not pretending, not faking. Living as someone whose success, abundance, love, expansion, and blessings are guaranteed. This as if is not imagination. It is assumption. It is embodiment. It is the vibration of inevitability. The eighth principle is quiet consistency. You don't need to constantly visualize. You don't need to constantly affirm. You don't need rituals every hour. Those things can help, but they are not the core. The core is simply remaining in the state, gently, silently, softly. Letting the new identity become your natural emotional home. The ninth principle is noticing internal changes. The first signs of manifestation are never external. They are internal. A calmer mind, a softer heart, a stronger intuition, a different response, a new kind of confidence, a sense of inevitability, the disappearance of anxiety, the dissolving of resistance. These are the early signals that your reality has begun to shift. The 10th principle is trust in the unseen. The unseen becomes the seen. The vibration becomes the material. The identity becomes the evidence. But there is always a period where nothing appears to be happening. And that period is where most people break their assumption. You must be the exception. You must trust what you cannot yet prove. That is the essence of the law of assumption. The 11th principle is embodying inevitability. There comes a moment, and you will feel it, when your desire no longer feels like a desire. It feels like a memory of something that already exists. That is the turning point. That is the tipping point. That is when the subconscious fully accepts the new identity. The 12th principle is rest, not rest from action, rest from fear, rest from urgency, rest from seeking, rest from trying to make something happen, rest in the knowing that the shift is complete internally, rest in the understanding that the universe is already aligning the physical. Rest in the truth that what is yours cannot pass you by. Stabilization is the art of becoming the version of you who no longer waits, no longer doubts, no longer negotiates with fear. It is the art of letting the identity hold you, letting the new state lead, letting the universe respond, because when you hold the state holds the manifestation. And when the identity stabilizes, reality has no choice but to conform. You do not manifest by forcing outcomes. You manifest by maintaining the identity of someone who already has what you want. And when you hold that identity long enough, the physical world will eventually look exactly like the inner world you now live in. Not because you hoped, not because you tried harder, but because you became. And reality always bows to who you become.